fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my God!
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Ozicar Turbo Touring Car Series. Time for another round of Season 4. We roll into Oran Park as it continues its legacy in the iRacing world, as it is now home to many houses in the real world. So we're here in the TCR cars, getting set for another 2-race evening, and we are going to go straight into the action in just a moment's time. Thank you again to Simspeed, Subways Photography, and RSW Graphics, who continue to support this series and help bring it to you live right here on Simspeed TV. My name is Ryan Jones. Cameron Dance alongside me, Jay Kennedy. Behind the scenes, Cameron, looking at qualifying. This could be a should be a relatively quick and close race.
Certainly, it's going to be quite an interesting race to see how these TCR cars handle this bumpy and short circuit. There's been no sign of these cars having gone to the circuit before, so it's going to be a first time in terms of the iRacing sphere of things. But nevertheless, Harlow, as expected, is on pole by 3/10 and a very, very solid lap time as well with a minute 10.3. But Kobe Williams up the pointy end in P2 is quite the surprise as well.
Yeah, Andrew Hobby was fast in practice as well. So Kobe and Andrew both finding a lot of speed here today. And they're both on that list of drivers that have been continuing to improve week in, week out. Kobe himself looking to bounce back from a dreadful showing last night in just sended action. Let's take a look at our starting grid then. So Harlow's on the pole, Williams alongside, Gardner and Dean Ross on row 2, Andrew Hobby and Mazzomo take up the third row of the grid ahead of Eddie Beswick, Pariana Stakis, Sam Ross, and Mario Vartanian.
Let me go back to Caleb Hydes and Reese Hell on row 6, Tim Cornton Cavallaro on row 7, Matterford and Gray on row 8, row 9, Edwards and Eddershide, and rounding out the top 20 on row 10 will be Matthew Spencer and Matt Dunphy.
That pole car looks brand new today. It's a brand new livery that Jackson Harlow is sporting for a G-Drive Eximia Esports, which is part of a much larger organization over in Europe. A team that have a LMP2 history in their blood, and a very big move for him. He's looking to put a good showing on at his first race under their new skin today. Be interesting to see how that plays out, but he is the man to beat. He's the man in form, and he is, again, the man out front. As you see, the weather conditions are exactly the same as they normally always are. Around 23 degrees Celsius on the track. Going to be hard for anyone to beat Harlow today, but all it takes is one slip up, and being on the pole, it puts him on the racing line, which just so happens to be the outside for turns 1, the kink, and then turn 2, the braking zone. So if Kobe can get away well, he could be able to challenge him down into our first 2 corners in just about 10 seconds time, as we look now to the grid and we get ready to go racing at Oran Park. 2 races ahead of us, 15 minutes now, 25 minutes later. Let's get the sprint race underway. As the red lights come on, the revs rise, and the drivers await the lights to go out. The lights are out, and we are racing from Oran Park. Good start from Harlow and from Williams. Poor getaway, though, for Reese Gardner. He's going to get caught 3 wide, as to his outside comes Andrew Hobby. To his inside comes Dean Ross through turn 1, 3 wide, and both 3 of them are gone. Across the infield goes Hobby. Williams sees him and sidesteps.
That was very, very lucky for Kobe Williams to not actually get caught up in that, as he nearly got T-boned. But what a way to start this race. Really unfortunate for Reese Gardner and Andrew Hobby and Dean Ross as well. And remember, Ross is in with a chance of the championship as well. So this is really going to hurt him, having dropped all the way down the order.
That was incredible awareness from Kobe Williams to see that crash and see the car coming through the inside on the grass. He jammed on the brakes, ran it out wide, and sidestepped that out-of-control car. Phenomenal job to keep himself in second place there. No luck involved for him. We'll get a replay when we can. But that takes out 3 very fast drivers and drops them right down the order. 3 into 1 does not go here at Oran Park. That is exactly why. So that leaves Harlow with a 1.6 second advantage. Back to Kobe Williams in second. Here's the replay of turn 1.
You can see him 3 wide, heading down towards turn 2. And unfortunately, Reese was the metaphorical meat in the sandwich. Got clipped by Hobby, and then Dean Ross unfortunately hit by Reese, and then Hobby finished him off. So really a messy incident. And just you saw how close it was for Kobe Williams to nearly end up with not such a good ending to his race.
Yeah, here's the onboard from Williams. I mean, we look out the left side in the mirror. You see a couple cars go down low. There's Hobby. And he just sliced in front of him, which our cameraman couldn't quite keep up with there. Interesting order now, back on live pictures. As I said, it's JSH from Williams. But then Summer Mazomo is in third. Eddie Beswick and Sam Ross, your top 5. So Mazomo's gained 3. Beswick has gained 3. Make that 4. No, 3. I can't count. And Sam Ross has gained 4 spots as well. So, big movers there. Thanks to that trio of cars spearing off the track at the first corner. Riding on board now with Caleb Hyde up into 9th place. He started from 11th.
Hyde's done a really good job actually making up a number of places off the start here, and is really looking to try and make a move as Vartanian looks up the side of Anastacus just ahead of him and doesn't quite get nearly... That gets it, but what a bouncing moment that was.
Where did Cavallaro end up then? Here's a look at the replay. This was Gardner heading up the inside. By the looks of things. This is Anastakis then. Here we go. This is Cavallaro, who was behind Anastakis. A big slide through the final corner. Actually got the fence. That caused Gardner to get a fantastic run. But he had to check up just a little bit. So he was sort of compromised because Matterford behind was looking very close. And it looks like there's actually damage to Cavallaro's car, and he's been unable to get it turned to the left. He's ended up hard into the concrete. That car goes for a heavy crash, and he will retire from this race. Williams was fastest on the previous lap, but on this lap, Harlow's opened up a second with a 1 minute 10.5.
Really doing a really good job at the moment. Obviously, no real pressure from anyone other than Kobe Williams, who's still 2.5 seconds behind. There's a little bit of contact going on for that 4th place position between Beswick and Sam Ross.
I think the correct term is a lot of argy-bargy happening right now. Looked like Beswick had a bit of a moment through the second corner. Really checked him up. Caused everyone to get stacked up behind him. Sam Ross was on the outside though, so couldn't quite make it work through turn 3. Up and over the bridge they go. Of course, the figure 8 circuit. One of the only in Australia, if not the only when it was around. Not many in the world, to that matter, either. This is a 5-way scrap, so this goes all the way back to Anastakis by the looks of things. And Mario Vartanian as well. Here's a look at the modem simulation replay. And Caleb Hyde has found the tyres.
Yeah, so something's happened there into turn 1. Possible contact, or maybe he's just lost it on his own. We'll have a look as he heads on it into turn 1 and just straight off the road on his own and into the fence, unfortunately. Once you're out on that grass, that's it, and into the fence hard.
You want to carry the speed as far as you can until you jump on the brakes for turn 2, which means carrying a lot of the throttle through that kink. These cars are naturally very understeery, and Caleb Hyde showing us what can happen if you understeer a little bit too wide. So Grant Matterford had an issue, and he has to bring it to pit road. Replay will tell us a tale here. Vartanian.
I believe it'll be a penalty for what's happened here at turn 1 on this replay with a poor rejoin, I think.
Oh, right, rejoin. Let's have a look. Sims. Like a pretty good rejoin to me. That was a mistake for Vartanian then. He lost 5 spots there. So, big error on his part. Might have hit on pit road for an unknown reason. Matthew Spencer, that front end looks a bit crunched in. Dylan Gray's off the track as well. Is that connected? It's the same part on the racetrack, so I'm going to say yes.
Yes, it is.
Harlow just went fastest again. That's the 3rd lap in a row he's done that. Ooh, that looks a bit tight.
Oh, that's not gone well.
So, who was that 3rd car then that was up the inside of Dylan Gray to turn him around? That was Andrew Hobby, so I wonder if he might have a penalty coming his way for that. Truly nowhere for poor Matthew Spencer to go. Reese Gardner has found his way back into 7th place after the contact down at the first corner. Just ahead of Pariana Stakis there. 12 seconds off our race leader, the Eximia Esports driver, excelling out at the front by 3.4 over Williams, Mizomo, Beswick, and Ross. Your top 5 still as they run up and across the... what's that corner called again? The flip-flop?
Yeah, I think that's about right, from memory.
Oop, 10-0 from Harlow. 4 laps in a row he's gone and done a new purple lap. So those tyres have a lot of longevity in them. That's going to be worrying for the field when we get into the 25-minute feature. On board with Vartanian as we run down to turn 1. Onto the brakes, up the inside. Does he pull it up? Looks like he has, and he's got the move done. Seal stamped and delivered. That's Matt Dunphy that falls behind and is now going to come under the pressure of Daniel Hederscheid. He's just a little bit too far back at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly is, but it'll only take one small mistake from Dunphy for Hederscheid to try and... Well, there'll be a gap for him to get on by, and not too far ahead of them actually is the car of Tim Court, who seems to be struggling a little bit, so this little bit of a train might actually get held up a little bit here, and might actually help Hederscheid, and it will actually help Dean Ross as well. He's not too far behind them as well.
So this could bring quite a few guys into the picture. Keep an eye on that. There's Matterford all the way back in 22nd after his trip into the pits. Pit entry itself going to be a big talking point in the feature. Who was that slapped the fence? That might have been Vartanian or Dunphy. I think it was Dunphy that gave it a solid whack out of that final corner. Will have done some serious damage to the right side as Vartanian. A lot of attitude through that car as he looks up the inside. Not going to be as easy as last lap around than it was doing it on Dunphy, because that's a great exit for Korn. Vartanian decides he wants to go up the inside, but he loses all that momentum in trying to get there.
Yeah, and Hederscheid's managed to find a way on by Dunphy as well at turn 1 after Dunphy runs a little bit wide, but Vartanian's still persisting to try and find a way past Tim Corn. He's going to look up the inside at the bridge and finally gets the move done.
Dylan Gray is being disqualified. Not sure what for. If it was for that rejoin, seems a little bit harsh. The penalty might have been a penalty for that, and then maybe something else to accrue a couple of penalties in order to cop that. Nonetheless, I think he'll probably be back for race 2, or at least next round. Tim Korn, Len, after losing the spot, has not been able to stay with Vartanian. He's fallen behind, and Hederscheid is going to be smelling blood here.
Yeah, he certainly is going to be smelling blood as he's not too far off the back of Tim Corn's Hederscheid and be trying to find a way on by. But at the moment, Sam Ross is actually starting to put a bit of pressure on Eddie Bezic here for P4 just up the road as well from that little battle pack, and just seemingly can't quite manage to find a way on by.
That's a new livery for Bradley Wingard, and that's a new line. Whoa!
There's a bump there.
A new livery and a new setup on that truck. I was gonna, you know why I said truck? Because I was gonna say making it drive like a stadium super truck, but I sort of left out half the sentence. Either way, that car is now in pit lane.
Yeah, I do wonder if that little bit of a bump was actually enough to break something on the front end and possibly lose drive to those front wheels. Wouldn't surprise me if it did, but nevertheless, unfortunate for Wingard.
P4 scrap resumes, or rather continues. Quarter of a second between Bestwick and Ross. Reese Howe's in there too. Reese Gardner is only just off the back of these guys in that white Fusion Sim Racing scheme. Should be a good recovery for him if he can at least stay in 7th. If he can pick up a couple of spots here, he'll surely be happy with that after being the meat in the sandwich on the lap number 1. Ooh, Reese Howe kicks up the grass, kicks out the rear end. It's not often the rear end that gets loose, but the front, because that's where all the power comes from. But he definitely got that rear out sideways that time around, as Tim Corn is having a day going from bad to worse. What's happened to him this time?
An incident with Heddershot by the looks of it. Heddershot going around the outside at turn at number 2, looking to try and get around the outside and just no room left for him. So that's really unfortunate for Cornton. You even see the likes of Dunphy in that trying to take evasive action.
Looked like it was extremely tight. Tough to call whether there was enough room given or not. Race Control will have fun with that, I'm sure. Now Heddershot, it's still behind the driver. This time it's Dean Ross who covers down the main straight. Heddershot gives him a push. Looking this way and that. Can't find a way through. Vartanian. See that dust? That's Vartanian. And he has said goodbye to the front right. And he said goodbye to this race. A toe to the lane. And a big chance for him. How's he done this?
He's done it all on his own as well. Just a slightest mistake of carrying a little bit too much speed into turn 1, and he's dropped the right-hand side tyres off into the dirt on the exit. And unfortunately, as we know very well, once you put some tyres on the dirt, that was it, straight into the wall heavily.
That'll cost him a top 10 finish, unfortunately. Minute and 50 on the clock, which means we've got about 2 laps to go. And Dean Ross is still doing a good job to fend off Heddershide. Eddie Bestwick doing a good job to fend off Sam Ross. Reese Howe, Reese Gardner. Again, Howe's car looking a little bit racy there in 6th place. Looks like he's got it on the edge, but he's controlling it pretty nicely. Although Reese Gardner has ranged up to the back of him and is now really starting a challenge. Sets himself up wide, gets the exit out of the corner. That's lovely from Gardner as he gets pinched to the inside, up and over the curb there. That's a really awkward curb. And you'll see it doesn't often work, and in this case it doesn't, as he probably would have known as soon as he saw himself headed for there.
Yeah, just wasn't quite up far enough to try and get a move done. As Isaac Edwards has had an off at turn 1 there by the looks of it. But yeah, really not quite close enough for Reese to have a proper go at getting the move done. So you have to sit station for the time being. But clearly showing some good pace. But he's not going to have much longer left in this race because White Flag's going to be out this time by, I believe.
Yep, one more lap for these drivers. Harlow Cross with 50 seconds left. It's a 1 minute 10 lap time. So, last attempt for any of these guys to find an improvement. Eddie Bestwick looking pretty comfortable right now, if it must be said, up there in 4th. Although, damn, Ross is superb on the brakes into turn 2. He closed in about 5 car lengths on the braking zone there. That was phenomenal. But he's having a cover at turn 3 from Reese Howe. Reese Gardner just drives right around the outside of him. Might have been a bit of contact. He gets edged out. Still can't get by Howe.
Yeah, he's trying and trying, but just can't quite seem to find a way on by Reese Howe, who's done a really, really good job at holding Reese off, despite the heavy charge that Reese has been putting on. But nevertheless, it's going to unfortunately come up short at the rate it's going by the looks of it. But Harlow is going to once again sweep this one away.
It is too many to count in a row now for Jackson Susan. Harlow is getting ever closer to that championship win. Kobe Williams, a career best. He's going to come home in 2nd place. And Simon Mazzomo is going to bring his TechSense Midside car to a 3rd place finish. Reese Howe, Reese Gardner, almost side by side. Still not going to get there, so Howe will fend him off. It's not a pretty looking car behind Anastakis. Caleb Hyde's limping that one home. A lap down.
Yeah, certainly. Hedashai going to round out the top 10, but Sperry's got his hands full with Benjamin Daly at the moment into the final corner. Sperry is going to have to go the long way around. Doesn't quite hit the wall, but Daly is probably going to get him at the line here. And it's going to be a drag race in favor of Dahlia by the smallest of margins, 1,000th of a second.
Phenomenal stuff. Dahlia gets him by the skin of his teeth. Another car with damage limping home. That's Tim McCown after running up inside the top 10 at one stage. Let's take a look at our full race results then. At the end of race 1, stick with us. Another qualifying session, another race still to come here from the virtual Oran Park. A 6-second win for Harlow in what was just a 14-lap race. That's crazy from Kobe Williams and Simon Mizomo. Beswick, Ross running out your top 5. Ritau home in 6th, fending off Gardner. Pariana Stakis in 8th. Dean Ross in 9th after his incident at turn 1. And Daniel Hedderscheid in 10th.
And Matt Dunphy is going to come home in 11th. Benjamin Dahlia just edges Sperry out for 12th, and Sperry coming 13th. Isaac Edwards and Tim McCorn round out the top 15. Then you have Jack Patterson, the final car on the lead lap, in 16th. And then your rest of the rest of the top 20, Andrew Hobby, Matthew Spencer, Mara Vartanian, and Grant Matterford. And then your DNFs, unfortunately, Bradley Wingard, Caleb Hydes, Joshua Cavallaro, Cameron Cousins, and Dylan Gray.
So that rounds out your field at the end of race 1. We're going to go to a quick break here on Simspeed TV, but stay with us. We'll be back for the second half of action from here in the Ozicar Turbo Touring Car Series at Oran Park.
Where the field is rolling out for the start of today's 400-lap race on this .625-mile racetrack. Here's the starting lineup. On the pole from Dawsonville, Georgia, in the number 9 Coors Ford qualifying and Winston Cup race from North Wilkesboro is underway. Everybody nicely through turns number 1 and 2 as Bill Elliott has the lead and Dale Earnhardt has jumped into second position, followed by Benny Parsons and Bobby Allison.
Georgia, Bill Elliott, straining car number 9 to bring it home. 10 car lengths, Bill Elliott, 2-time winner of the Great American Race.
The out of fuel, Bill Elliott, and Dale Earnhardt is going to win the Trans-South 500, his second win of 1987.
fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Six very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
And so we return back to Oran Park, ready to get the second half of our evening underway, beginning with a 10-minute qualifying session, and then our 25-minute feature race. Nothing's changed up here in the booth. It's still me, Ryan Jones, and Cameron Dance calling the action, and yes, it is still Jay behind the scenes. Cameron, race one saw everything go Harlow's way, which is a tale we seem to have seen play out over a dozen times now this season already. Race two going to be any different?
Well, most people would say, and I'll probably say, probably not. So we'll see what happens. But hey, look, we saw at Daytona last season, everything went pear-shaped for him. So who knows?
Yep, you never know what may happen when you find yourself in amongst 20 other cars. Especially on a track like this. Oran Park isn't exactly the widest track in existence. Well, to be fair, it's not in existence at all, really, anymore. But it's not the widest, and it doesn't have that many overtaking opportunities. Certainly not in the last sector. As we head on board with Benjamin Dahlia, as we talk about the Oran Park circuit, as Dahlia decides to roll it up and over the flip-flop, let's ride on board, Cameron, and let's go for a lap around the defunct circuit.
Yeah, certainly. Through the final uphill corner, running it out to the wall for starting the lap on what is a short-ish lap of this track, only 2.6 kilometers long. As he heads down on towards turn one, clipping that inside curb and nearly running it right out to the edge of the track. Runs it a little bit deep into turn 2/1, but nevertheless, nice exit regardless before heading it down towards the infield section of the circuit, which was actually a go-kart track on some days, if you didn't know that, which made things quite interesting. But nevertheless, through the section before coming up the hill towards the bridge to head over the top of the circuit through the figure eight part, and then down towards the rest of the track through another S's section, which this track does have quite a few of, before heading down towards the final sector of the lap, and then coming up and over the rise towards what we call the flip-flop, and then down through towards the final corner using both curbs on the left and right hand side, and then through the final corner. It's looking like it's going to be a decent lap by Dahlia here, runs it right out to the wall on the final corner, comes across the line, and the lap is going to be 1 minute 12.4, puts himself P10 at the moment.
Not bad, puts him ahead of Sam Ross, who those two generally seem to be pretty close on pace. Joshua Cavallaro fishtails it into turn 1, and straight off the racetrack he goes as a result of that. Look at the gap at the top right now. Harlow's only got 0.04 of a second in hand over Kobe Williams. Reese Gardner is only a tenth and a bit behind them. So really tight at the moment as the tyres come up to temperature. I wonder how much of an improvement, how they will find. Expect a improvement, but how much is it? It is a 1 minute 10.868. Kobe Williams to the 10.947, so stays within a tenth of him. Reese Gardner, what is he going to do as he crosses the line? Oh, he made a mistake. He was 0.3 slower.
For Reese to have made that mistake, but Hobby's gone into P3 and Mizomo into P4 as well, so decent laps from those two and a few others moving up the order. Tim Corn's gone to P10 by the looks of it as well, so starting to see some representative times. Caleb Hydes goes to P7 and Sam Ross to P9.
Good effort from Sam Ross there. Down at pit road, that looks like Matterford. Daniel Hedderscheid going to put down his first time of the session. His first lap didn't count, so he picked up an off-track or a loss of control somewhere. His second lap was a 1 minute 12.2. Slots himself into 12th place, right ahead of Tim Corn, who had that tough second half of race 1. Here's the Harvey Bay Autoglass from Racing Ozicar of Isaac Edwards, sitting in 16th. He's been pretty quiet on the occasions we've seen him so far in this series. Wonder if he can make a splash in the water today. Second lap, 11.8, puts him right up into 8th place. It's a really decent effort.
Yeah, certainly a very, very good time. And Reese has moved up into P4 as well, just ahead of Mizomo. There's nothing in it between first, second, and third as well.
Harlow and Williams are done, and there's half a tenth between them. Williams taking the fight to Jackson Harlow tonight. Good to see. And Andrew Hobby, who was fast in practice, didn't quite nail qualifying, really didn't nail the race, is sitting in third, so he's rebounding well. Dean Ross, he was part of that 3-car collision down at turn 1 lap 1 with Reese Gardner and Andrew Hobby. And he is also looking to recover from that. Gardner is in 4th. Where is he going to put himself? If he goes 5th or 4th or 3rd, then cover your eyes, because it might be history repeating itself at the start of race number 2. Where's he go? Nowhere. Didn't count. Well, that's an anticlimax.
So
He was 16th. That was his first lap, though, so his tyres still coming up to temperature.
Yeah, certainly. He's actually left it quite late, has Dean Ross in qualifying. Usually he's set his times by now, but he's left it quite late. Obviously, 10 minutes and 3 laps around here is not a very bit long amount of time, so you can leave it a little bit later, but nevertheless, it seems that like the sort is very shaken up, actually, with a few different drivers in different places. You got the likes of Isaac Edwards up inside that top 10, Caleb Hydes in 10th, and yeah, it's a very, very shaken up top 10. Sam Ross even in P6 as well.
Caleb Hydes inside the top 10. He will stay in 10th. All right, Dean Ross, his second effort of the session. He will begin his final effort in just a moment. Where's this one put him? 11.4. That puts him 8th. He's 4 seconds away from his best friends, Andrew Hobby and Reese Gardner. Grant Matterford, he was in pit lane for quite a while. Finally gets out on the racetrack. This is only his first attempt. He'll only get probably 2 attempts in. No, he should get 3, actually, looking at the time left to just get there. A 12.0 for his first one. That's quicker than what Dean Ross managed in his first attempt, for reference.
Yeah, it certainly was. So possibly looking good for the second lap if he can put it together as Grant Medford. Anastakis doesn't register a time for, well, it's actually just started his first lap. As pretty much done their laps apart from 3 drivers, obviously Medford, Ross, and Anastakis.
Hyde's doing an extra lap here in qualifying to help get some practice in. Maybe he should have practiced the pit entry there, because when you slam on that brake pedal, you better pray that the car behind you gets out of the way, because otherwise there will be a big nose-to-tail crash heading into the pits. Final lap for Dean Ross, 11.17, he goes 6th. So doesn't quite get to Gardner and Hobby. He'll start alongside Simon Mazzomo. He'll have Reese Gardner right in front of him. Grant Matterford, his second lap, currently 14th. If he finds an improvement similar to Dean Ross, he should go around 9th or 10th. He goes 11th. And Anastakis hasn't got a time on the board yet. He won't get both of his laps in. A 1:12.2 should just get his second lap in, but that'll be about it. 17th after his first effort.
Yeah, so we'll see what Anastakis can do on his second and final lap, and we'll see what Medford can do on his final flying lap as well, and whether he can move into that top 10 or whether he's going to have to settle for P11 at this stage.
Not much of a difference between 10th and 11th. Not like some categories in the world where qualifying inside the top 10 will lock your tyre choice or something along those lines. And the entire conversations going to be had today are about when you come in for your mandatory 2-tyre pit stop, which generally is probably going to be later in the race as opposed to what we are used to seeing, because lately they've all been going late in this series. So, final lap on the board for Grant Matterford. Expect this to be pretty decent, and it is 11.4. He goes 8th, right behind Ross and Ross in front of him.
Yes,
and Anastakis.
Anastakis to go into P12.
Took up the spot that Matterford left. Let's take a look at the starting grid for race 2. It's once again Jackson Harlow and Kobe Williams on the front row, but that gap has shrunk. Andrew Hobby and Reese Gardner start 3rd and 4th. Mizomo and Dean Ross on row 3. Sam Ross and Grant Matterford on row 4. Reese Howe, Mario Vartanian starting behind them.
And then on row 6, you've got Isaac Edwards and Perry Anastakis, Caleb Hydes and Hedda Scheid on row 7, Eddie Beswick and Benjamin Daly on row 8, Dunphy and Corns on row 9, and Wingard and Cavallaro rounding out the top 20 on row 10.
Last of our drivers, Jake Sperry, Matthew Spencer, and Jack Patterson, and Cameron Cousins as well. 25-car field. Shock and horror, the track temp's actually gone up 12 degrees. So it's 34 degrees track temp out there. Wonder if that might be part of the reason why Williams drew closer to Harlow. Wonder if his car is more suited to those lower track temps, or vice versa, Williams to the hotter track temps. Signage there from back when this track was scanned. The final race of the 2006 season, I think that said. 2008 even. Jay Crixby in the background. That's one of the buildings at Oran Park. I'm assuming it's the pit lane building. Cracked concrete walls, the old grandstand on top of the hill, which I could imagine probably gave a pretty good sense of theatre from up there, looking down over the final part of the racetrack. But it's all lights at the front, all eyes at the front, looking to the lights. How good would that have looked back in the day? A full crowd up on that hill, up in that grandstand. So many dives would have been had down to that final corner. Wonder if we'll get one today if they are close enough to make such a lunge. Let's get ready to go racing. Final race from Oran Park. Not forever, just for today. In the Ozicar Turbo Touring Car Series. Red lights, high revs, and a green flag in the air. We are underway. And Andrew Hobby gets the best jump of them all from 3rd place. He's going to draw alongside Williams and try to go around the outside of him at turn number 1. He's almost got him clear. Can't quite clear him, and Williams will fight back on the inside as Gardner just pulls it up into turn number 2. He almost lost that rear end. Out of turn 2 we run. Clean start this time.
Yeah, certainly a much cleaner start this time as Gardner still trying to go around the outside of Hobby here, but Hobby's just going to hold him off. But that nearly ended in tears again for Dean Ross and Reese Garner as Ross throws it up the inside of Reese Garner once again. And Reese is going to be hung out to dry on the outside as they come over the bridge for the first time. But Reese going to hold it around the outside and hold on to this position, or is he not? Going to be close, but he's going to have to concede.
Oh, Dean Ross shut that door in his face. The second he cleared him, getting onto the grass, cost Gardner the spot there. Car actually bounced up in the air just a fraction. Now, here's a replay. Murray Vartanian looks like he's run into issue. That was Sam Ross in front of him, and he's been rotated from behind and been caught on the outside of the racetrack. Probably contact from Reese Howe there. The angle doesn't quite tell us. Here we go. Here's the onboard.
Yeah, there's a little bit of nose tail going on, and Reese Howe just tapping the rear end. So a little bit of contact between him, and unfortunately, Vartanian came off second best there.
Big Constantina at turn 2 as Cavallaro comes into the pits on lap number 1. Only driver to do so, at least out of everyone in front of him. In fact, no one has pitted behind him. So, Solitary Taker early on. Cameron Cousins has rotated it at turn number 2. Hobby is all over the back of Hyde. Gardner all over the back of Dean Ross. Mizomo got an angry pack behind him as well.
Yeah, certainly. It's quite bunched up at the moment in these early parts of this race. Mizomo being a little bit of a proverbial cork in the bottle at the moment for Sam Ross and Reese Howell and Caleb Hydes as well. But obviously Mizomo trying his best to hold off the charging pack behind him. But Reese Gardner now trying to hunt down Dean Ross, and Andrew Hobby trying to hunt down and find a way on by Kobe Williams.
Behind them, there it is. Eddie Bestwick has just lost the spot to Daniel Hederscheid because he went to make a move on Anastakis into the flip-flop. He lost his momentum, actually gave the best run of all to Hederscheid, who was the third car in line, found himself now in between the two of them.
He certainly has a bit of contact between the two of them, and Hederscheid's going to find a way on by, and Benjamin Jolly's even going to take advantage of this, going to look to the inside, but not going to be able to get a move done.
No, not quite, though. Hederscheid and Beswick touching doors. So Hederscheid will try to get by Anastakis before Beswick regroups and finds that speed he had around this particular portion of the racetrack on the last lap, where he started to reel in and try to make that move on Anastakis. Just up the road from them then is that battle behind the cork in the bottle, Simon Mizomo. Even further back is Jake Sperry, throwing it off the racetrack in sympathy of, well, no one. He's just decided to drive off the racetrack.
Yeah, he did that a fair bit in practice, actually, before race 1. So he's run a bit too deep there and just ended up off the road and decided to turn his Audi TCR car into a bit of a lawnmower. As we see, I believe that's Reese Howe coming into the pit lane, and possibly a penalty for Howe as well with this pit stop, but also Matthew Spencer joins him coming into pit lane.
Could be a penalty for that contact with Vartanian down at turn 4. That looked tight. Please go back to that shot, Jay. That's not it. Well, no one else has spun, so it looks like they escaped, but Dahlia was getting crowded almost onto the grass as he came out of turn 2, and he tried to make them... Whoa! Whoa! Hello, Hederscheid. Where are you going? That's Hederscheid's teammate, Jack Patterson. That car had abated no speed as it flashed across our camera.
Yeah, well, big off at turn 1 and straight into the barrier. Not such a big hit compared to what we saw with the likes of Vartani and that, but it's never a good thing to have a touch with the barrier.
I believe an update too on the yes or no as to whether it was a penalty for Reese Howe, and it in fact was a penalty. So that's his race pretty much in the garbage then. He'll have to hope for a fair bit of drama up here on the racetrack because he still has to make another pit stop. And Vartanian is moving rather slow. That's because he's in pit road.
Yes, so Vartanian deciding to come on down to pit lane to get that service done early in this race and get a bit of clean air as well. Although with the short lap, it might actually send him a lap down by the time he comes out of pit lane.
He probably will go a lap down, actually. Harlow's coming.
As it would appear, Ryan has decided to disappear momentarily, but on board with Reese Garner at the moment, trying
corner
to...
now. Gardner having a couple of dabs at the entry. The lag switch, that I have for racing to give you an unfair advantage. I accidentally called it then. You don't need it for commentating. All it does is bad things. On board with Hedderscheid as he runs in behind Beswick. This is a pretty tight pack here, Cam.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's very, very bunched up at the moment, and you've got Hedderscheid looking to try and find a way on by Beswick, and Beswick trying to find a way on by Benjamin Daly as well. So we'll see what might come of this, but Anastakis isn't too far ahead of them, so this might form into a little bit of a battle as Hedderscheid up on the curb, bit of contact between the two of them.
That's not good. And he will probably have to redress that one. One would expect. Meanwhile, Jackson Susan Harlow has yet to put in a fastest lap because, well, apparently none of them have been valid, according to Jay. That one was valid, that's for sure. That's a 10.431. So that's his fastest lap of the race, the fastest lap of the race, because he has found another gear in that TCR, it would seem. Ooh, Reese clipped the grass then, or the dirt on the entry, gathered it up nicely though.
Yeah, I was very lucky not to end up in the fence like we've seen so many people do tonight so far, especially turn one when you clip that grass and dirt. So very, very lucky to get away with that, and has used up one of his 9 lives, that's for sure.
Eddie Bestwick, Daniel Hedderscheid, this side by side again. Bestwick lunges and goes too deep with that one. Hedderscheid able to go back by him. I guess technically he's redressed because Bestwick was ahead of him. Dunphy looking on as they squabble away in front of him then. He'll probably find an opportunity to capitalise here if these two keep battling the way they are, looking backwards from underneath the rear wing of Hedderscheid's number 35 car. Kobe Williams is in pit lane. He's tumbling down the tower. He's taken a cone with him. And Dean Ross follows.
Yeah, so we're starting to see some of the leaders starting to put and try and use a bit of an undercut strategy here to get a bit of clean air and see if they can use it to their advantage, although I don't think it'll really help. Kobe Williams has been behind Jackson Susan Harlow by quite some margin, so it's probably not going to aid him all that much, but it should help Dean Ross a little bit here with the fact that he's been stuck in a bit of traffic at the moment.
Mario Vartanian's out of the race as well, so he has been forced to take a retirement. Cavallaro will roll out ahead of Kobe Williams, who's still up on the jacks. Drive through for him. And Williams will have some dirty air to contend with, which I'm sure is not exactly what he wanted. On board with Mizomo, he finds himself in 4th, although isn't quite here on raw pace. He is yet to pit. Sam Ross behind him in the same boat. Let's see if he comes to pit lane this time. He does not. I thought he was going to. He was taking the draft of the away from. I was on replay mode. I've got no defense.
Yeah, as we see Beswick come into the lane, and Hides joins him as well by the looks of it.
On board with Kobe Williams, as he has found clean air, so he's managed to get by Cavallaro pretty quickly, and I don't think this will have much of a effect on the battle with Harlow, because Williams was pretty much 4 seconds behind Harlow anyway, and thus in clean air. The battle with Hobby, though, Hobby is going to jump him.
Or is he? Because the closing speed is rapid, and Williams going to look to a move and contact.
Good save. And Cavallaro as well had to jam on the brakes, pop sideways, and he saved it. Good job. Good job, Andrew Hobby. And good job, Kobe Williams, to check up and not take advantage of that. Dean Ross is now in this fight as well.
Yeah, so Dean Ross actually on for a pretty solid result at this point to be right on the tail of Kobe Williams, but it won't be helping him with the fact that he pitted early to try and get out of a battle that he was in as well. So we'll see what happens here and whether Dean Ross can find a way on by to then give himself some nice clean air. But nevertheless, he's right on the tail of Kobe Williams here, and now Hobby's going to be really under attack from Kobe Williams.
This is a three-way scrap for second place. That's a big late dive from Williams. He almost pulls it off. The exit now going to be crucial as they go to drag race their way back down to turn number 1. Dean Ross got a superb exit behind him, but he's got nowhere to go. He's going to have to sit and wait, maybe push one of these guys forward. Almost gets to the back of Hobby, just lifts off before he gets there. And now he's going to shove himself into the gap formed by the Williams-sized car. But he can't keep it there. So Hobby will lose just one spot, and Williams back into provisional P2.
Yeah, and you can see Dean Ross is looking left, right, and center to try and find a way on by Andrew Hobby, but just can't seem to be able to do it with the way that Hobby is just getting a nice enough of an exit.
Reese Gardner is on pit road. So is Mizomo. So is Sam Ross. And Jackson Susan Harlow. 12 minutes remaining, so pretty much the halfway point of this race. Tim Corn also comes to the lane. Jake Sperry will probably stay out and try to get himself to the lead of the race.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens here. But Williams coming through the final quarter now. Mizomo and Garner and Ross yet to drop, as Reese has dropped, Mizomo has dropped. Now all of them are indeed away, and Reese is going to get this here, and Mizomo is going to come out right in the middle of this battle between Ross and Co, and he's just missed out.
Oh boy!
But Dean Ross has run deep.
So close. Ross just going to hold it. So not only was it a slow pit stop for Williams, but then the contact when Hobby rejoined has slowed them up so much that Reese Gardner has just completely jumped them all, and they've rejoined with Mizomo and Sam Ross. Dean Ross wasn't in the fight earlier either. So it's gone from a very comfortable top 3 to suddenly a 5-way scrap for second. You see the replay there of Dean Ross did well to see Mizomo and just adjust his line enough.
Yeah, and it cost him a little bit, and then he ran a little bit deep into turn 1 as well. So lucky to actually pull it up and not let Mizomo take advantage of that mistake. But nevertheless, he's really pulled away from Mizomo, has Dean Ross. But lead of the race is indeed on between Benjamin Daly and Anastakis at the moment.
They are leading for now, yet to make their stops. Dahlia, Anastakis, and Heddershide, 1.5 seconds covering them. They can go as late as the commencement of the white flag lap if they want. All depends on where they want to rejoin and how well their tyres are working. So these guys could keep this battle going for quite some time. Harlow's 27 seconds behind them. As into pit lane comes Pariana Stakis. We see there how Heddershide emerged from behind him, seemingly at the last second. That's the nature of pit injury here at Oran Park. You've already seen the nature of pit exit at Oran Park. They're just as wild as each other. Matt Dunphy then into third, and Matterford on the back of him. Further back, Kobe Williams is close right up to Reese Gardner, and he's having a look at the final corner. And Gardner's actually left the door wide open, and did he let him go there? Almost looked that way.
Yeah, it certainly looked that way, like Reese just let him on by, but Reese is going to have a nice draft and a nice run here down towards turn number 1. Williams goes slightly defensive, and Reese thinks better of it to just sit behind, be a little bit patient into turn 1.
We've got a replay of that pass then up on screen. As you see there, Kobe pulled that move a couple times already in this race, seemingly a spot he likes, and it is serving him very well. Shame you don't have the Zoom call up tonight. Normally have Kobe in on that, and would be interesting to see his reaction if he does manage to get a podium today. But in saying that, every time he is on the webcam, he seems to run into all sorts of issues, so maybe that's the curse. Zunfi's in pit lane. That leaves just 5. There's the 6-man Harlow, who gets himself ahead of Sperry.
Yeah, and that was actually passed on track as well, and Sperry's yet to make his pit stop, so unfortunately Sperry will not lead a lap here.
Can you tell he's on a controller? Look at those wheel inputs.
I mean, you have to give him credit, though. The fact that he is on a controller, he's actually quite smooth with it. Usually, you'd see most controller users just throwing the wheel left, right, and center.
Yeah. Fine motor skills in that thumb is what he's got. Mizomo's challenging, and he's looking, and he's lunging, and Dean Ross is not going to be able to defend that. Yes, he can. He does so by just pinching and crowding Mizomo.
That was extremely close to contact. Would not be surprised if there is 0x involved there for Dean Ross, but yeah, very, very lucky to have no contact happen there. But Mizomo is really looking racy at the moment, trying to get away on by the car of Dean Ross.
7 minutes remaining. So this battle's well and truly on for what should be P6 once everything shakes out. Bit of smoke in front. Don't think that was anything to be worried about. Mizomo much stronger on the brakes. On the exit, he is also very strong. In fact, strong enough to get a run. That smoke was a result of some technical issues with the car in front. It was rolled off and let them go. That was a laps car, so no positional change. Positional change there, though, as Mizomo gets it done at turn 1.
Yeah, very, very nice move by Mizomo to get up the inside. Now Ross is going to challenge him on the exit to try and do the over and under, and going to try and go the long way around, which seems to work for a few people, but Mizomo going to hold his own and hold onto the position. But now Dean Ross is going to have Sam Ross right behind him now, and is going to be probably looking to try and make a move here.
It was almost a meat and a Ross sandwich there, but manages to escape before that happened. Sam Ross carrying a lot of pace. Might be able to get by Dean in a moment's time. Kobe has not pulled away from Gardner. So, I do wonder again why Reese opted to let him go, or whether he just wasn't able to carry the speed around the outside there. Either way, he's got some good pace now, and Williams is actually just thrown out a little bit wide there. And that's going to give another half a tenth of a second in favor of Gardner. Fusion Sim Racing driver will edge closer and closer down into turn number 1. Not going to be close enough. But look for turn 2. Does he set himself up? He tries, but again, not there.
Yeah, not quite able to get a move this time, but Reese playing the mind games and playing the long game as well, and hoping that he can use the pressure that he's applying to Kobe Williams to force him into a mistake and then be able to get on by nice and easily. But he does have to remember that Andrew Hobby has had some very decent paces. It isn't too far behind him as well. It was actually slightly slower, but not by a lot last time by compared to him. So we'll need to get a bit of a move on with there only being a handful of laps to go.
Estimated 3-4 laps to go here at Oran Park, depending on when exactly Harlow crosses the line. Again, still waiting on Matterford and Sperry to make their way into the lane. Ooh, that's too deep from Gardner. That's going to cost him quite a chunk of time in favor of Harlow, as Williams is flashing a light at Sperry. Doesn't want to get held up by him, especially being the fact that he is on a completely alternate strategy. Almost complete opposite to what Williams has done here.
Oh no,
Gardner started off the racetrack.
Oh, and he's just made the fence as well. Not a terribly large impact, but that's definitely made the fence. And he's going to drop down the order behind Sam Ross, even in Clavellaro. Going to probably lose out to Benjamin Dunn. No, not quite.
Here's a replay on board with Gardner. I wonder if he's just tagged the grass on the right on the entry, or whether it's been the exit. Well, it has to be the exit. There's no grass on the entry. There you go. 2 tires in, and once you hit it, there's no pulling it up, especially in these front-wheel drive cars.
Yes, certainly, but a reasonably soft hit as well. No major damage to the car, so lucky to get away with it, but he's lost a number of positions, and what could have been a very, very good result and a nice haul of points from him, especially considering he's sitting third in the championship heading into this race as well.
Matterford finally brings that car to pit road. Jake Sperry, though, says, no thank you. I must still continue to stay out, and for a moment, he is still in 4th place, but Andrew Hobby going to take that away from him. That car's damaged as well by the looks of things, so he has been into contact at some point in this one, which might explain why he was so far behind the other guys that hadn't pitted. Dahlia and Anastakis, this battle is still raging for 10th place, and Matterford rejoins in the middle. Anastakis makes quick work of him.
So the majority, well, pretty much all the cars, bar Sperry, having it pitted, everybody seems to have sorted themselves out into their rightful positions. But at the moment, Hedderscheid trying to possibly look and make a move here on Matterford. He's going to be on cold tyres with the fact that he's just pitted, whereas Hedderscheid's going to be on a bit warmer tyres. But that said, the tyres on Hedderscheid's car are going to be a little bit more used. So if Matterford can just hold on till his tyres come up to temp, he should have the advantage once he is in the green zone.
Just missed the apex there. Doesn't hurt him too much, but it's tiny mistakes like that that could cost him with how little time is left in this one. And the disadvantage he has with the tyres. Great through the final corner. Matterford probably a little bit too conservative there. But a good exit. And Hedderscheid will have no opportunity at turn 1. Turn 2 might be close enough, depending on how this run is. Too far back.
Yeah, too far back this time, and he'll need to start to try and figure out how to find a way on by Matterford as well. Will Hedderscheid, with the fact that he is starting to run out of laps. There's not many to go. Going to be 2 laps to go next time they cross the line, but he looks to the inside at the double right, but not quite going to be able to get up close alongside enough to make the move happen. But he's definitely wanting to make sure that Matterford at least starts to put the foot down a little bit more here as he looks again to the inside.
Matterford leaves in the room. Hedderscheid goes through, takes away P11. Pressure surmounts, and Matterford relinquishes that spot. Up the road is Anastakis and Dahlia. Don't know if he'll be able to get there. 2 laps to go when he crosses the line. He was quicker last lap by 0.8 of a second compared to Anastakis. Meanwhile, further up the track, Sam Ross and Dean Ross are closing in. Sam Ross was pretty much identical to Dean Ross on the last lap. So these guys have been glued together now for quite some time. And Reese Gardner behind is looking to recover.
Yeah, certainly. Reese actually catching these two ahead of him very, very quickly. So if he can keep this pace up, he might actually be able to get past these two who have been actually 2 seconds slower pretty much. Well, not quite, but just under 2 seconds slower in the last lap. So these two holding each other up, and Reese is really on a charge at the moment to try and get these another 2 positions to help him in this championship fight. But that said, Dean Ross is in a very, very good position as well, remember, in the championship. So Sam Ross probably going to try and help Dean out with it being teammates. So we'll see what happens. But Reese all over the back end of Sam Ross here, looks to the inside of the final corner, but not quite going to be close enough to make a move. But still, it's going to be all on in these last few corners.
He dropped the left sides off the inside of the track, and at that final corner, that means the left side actually dips down because it's quite steeply banked off the inside of the apex. So that cost him quite a bit. as he's actually made another mistake coming into turn 2. He got away with it this time. He dropped about half the right sides off onto the dirt. I do think Sam Ross has the pace over Dean here, but he just doesn't seem to want to make that move. Whether he is playing the rear gunner role is unknown, but most likely the scenario. For Jackson Harlow, he is just untouchable. No one is getting close to him, and his streak continues. New day, new team, new win. Jackson Harlow gets it done, and he clean sweeps the round once again. It is on. Further back, though. Gardner to the back bumper of Sam Ross. Just fell away because he pressured too much on the entry and cost himself the exit. Too eager, it looks like, and that's probably going to be the death of him in terms of this battle. Throws it into the final corner, but it's not going to be enough. Dean Ross, a bad exit. Sam Ross with the momentum. Can he sneak by him at the line? He's not quite going to get there.
Yeah, not quite going to happen, but Dean Ross will finish ahead of Reese Gardner, so that'll help him in the championship fight between those two. But what a race. There was just action throughout this field.
Oh, there always is. There always is in Aussie car competition, whether it's to TCR, the Skip Barber tomorrow night, or the V8s on Friday night. You can always guarantee this two-race format is going to throw action up in the air as the rest of our drivers come across the line, and we take a look at our results from race number 2. And it is again Jackson Harlow with the race victory. This time it's a 13.3 second margin over Kobe Williams, and I don't think he even broke a sweat. He did not look uncomfortable for a moment. Andrew Hobby comes home in 3rd to round out the podium. Simon Mazzomo in 4th. Dean Ross in 5th. Sam Ross, Reese Gardner, Benjamin Dahlia, Pariana Stakis, and Daniel Hedderscheid make up your top 10.
And you've got Grant Matterford and Eddie Beswick just outside the top 10, 11th and 12th. 13th, 14th, Hydes and Dunphy Wingard rounds out the top 15. 16th, Matthew Spencer. 17th to Tim Quant. 18th to Isaac Edwards and Jake Sperry and Reese Howe rounding out the top 20. And then you've got Cavallaro and Cousins and Patterson and Vartanian rounding out the 24-car field.
So the championship's just got one more round to run. And it would seem that Jackson Harlow is pretty much, at this point, got one hand on that trophy. It seems like no one is getting within striking distance of you, Jackson. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was fun 2 races. It was good to have my mate get 2 seconds. That's really good effort from him. He's improving each week, so good job to him. But yeah, it was fun.
You know what? That explains a lot as to Kobe Williams' sudden improvement in pace, been gradually improving, and tonight was the icing on the cake. I really want to see him challenge you next week, Harlow.
Yeah, 100%. It's really good seeing him improve all the time. We do when I practice, he's obviously on with me, and me, him, and a couple of the others do laps together. So it's really cool to see. It's helping him and getting him gradually faster. So yeah, hopefully next week he can come back and see if he can go one step higher.
I'm not going to ask you about the race because it was just cool running for you out there at the front. Next round is the championship finale. As I said, as you joined our comms box, you've got one hand on the trophy. Do you go in with the exact same mindset that's got you to this point?
Yeah, same mindset, same everything. Just won't be able to do any preparation for the next one. I'll be from this Friday until probably half an hour before quali, or 40 minutes before qual. I'll be out for real life commitments, so that will mix it up a bit, but I'm not worried. Phillip Island's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. I've driven a lot of cars there, so get into qualifying and just try and qualify top 8 or something, and race our way forward, I guess.
This seems like a good plan in my books. Now, new livery on your car today, the G-Drive Eximia Esports machine, making its debut in the Ozicar series. I'm assuming that's going to bring some sponsors for you to give a shout out to now, once again.
Oh yeah, it's really cool to have G-Drive. Well, it's really cool for me to join G-Drive. It's been awesome. Couple of races I've done with them. The first race was the 120 on the weekend. So yeah, we're trying to make it one of the best teams in the world. So trying to step everything up. So yeah, just a big thanks to all them guys, Eximia Esports. Fuck, I gotta get these freaking sponsors right, eh? I'm not getting them right. Hold on. Give me a second. Yeah, Eximia. Oh no. Looting. Yeah, don't worry about it. I can't even get these sponsors. There's too many of them. I just gotta get written down.
You'll have
Got all
plenty of
my
time.
Altus ones down still, and I can't thank them. They're not even on the car.
You'll have plenty of time to get them
yeah,
memorized,
just
I'm
big-
sure.
Yeah, just a big thanks to all them guys. Hopefully, we can come back next week and get 2 more wins. So that's the main goal.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us once again, and go get after it. And then we'll,
Yeah,
talk to you
cheers.
next week.
Thank you.
That was Jackson Harlow. If you want to see more about his move to G-Drive Eximia Esports as well, keep your eye on the Sim Racing Oz website over the coming days, potentially even as early as tomorrow. Now let's have a chat to Kobe Williams, coming home with double P2s. I believe I'm right in saying that's a career best for you.
Yeah, not too bad. I'll take 2 double. What's it called? 2 second
double
places.
P2s?
Yeah, take that happily, definitely.
Good running for you. We heard from JSH about how you two have been working together, practicing together. You two are mates as well. Obviously, that's been helping you quite a bit. What's it been like learning from someone as fast as him?
Oh, Jackson's very good to compare against because he's a very fast driver. It definitely helps following him and stuff like that, yeah.
How's your mindset then for the final round of the championship? You've been gradually improving. Today was phenomenal. You reckon you might be able to take the fight to him next week?
Oh, we can only try, can't we?
Yeah, exactly right. Hey, who gets it done for you, by the way? Any people or sponsors?
I like to thank Sicklers, A1 Engines, and yeah, everyone that helps, I guess.
Hey, well, thank you for joining us, Kobe, and best of luck next week.
Yep, thank you guys. Yeah.
That was Kobe Williams coming home P2. You know what? Let's have a chat to Simon Mizomo here, Cameron. Why don't you have a chat to him?
If he's there, are you there, Miz?
Just hanging in the background, but yeah, hanging on.
Well, pretty solid night for you, and probably a personal best in the series, actually, with a podium and a P4. You've got to be wrapped with that totally.
Oh, massively wrapped. I sort of felt not too bad coming in. I did a couple of practice sessions before, and I was on par with Reece Gardner, and we all know he's definitely one of the top drivers in the series. So I thought I'll be there and thereabouts, but no, definitely didn't expect to end up with a third and the fourth tonight. So yeah, really good signs of progress. I'm starting to sort of get my head around the car now. So
yes, certainly. Well, with the fact that this is probably, if not the first time that TCR has ever gone to Oran Park, it's probably actually not a bad idea to get your thoughts on it. And did you enjoy it? And did you find anything challenging at all?
Only times I've really ever driven this track is probably in the supercar, and obvious reasons. It's obviously a staple for that car and category. So I've always sort of struggled big time with the supercar being the throttle control and being able to carry the momentum through the corner. It's a very, very different beast. Whereas these things, it actually feels a bit easier. You can be a bit more aggressive with the car, especially with what they've done with the front diff and a few changes to the car. They're a lot. You can be a lot more aggressive with them. And around here, you still got the bumps to compete with and the elevation and all that, but it's much easier. And as long as you sort of keep your mid-corner speed up and you get a really nice drive off the corners, yeah, fantastic to drive around here. So yeah, I've driven here once in real life just before it closed, and yeah, I thought it was pretty good then. But no, I think in these
shows
cars,
your age.
Yeah, I know it does, doesn't it? But yeah, no, in these cars around here, yeah, definitely a lot of fun. Definitely recommend giving it a go.
Yeah, certainly. It looked like it was a lot of fun. Well, heading into the final round at Phillip Island, just any thoughts, and are you looking forward to it, Hulu?
Definitely looking forward to it. Hopefully, can keep this run of top 10s going. Phillip Island's probably a little bit of a bogey track for me. I sort of either do good there or I do sort of mediocre. Or in these cars, I think last time I've been there, actually no, my first ever top 5 in this series came from Phillip Island. Actually, now that I think about it, so yeah, it might be a good form guide. So might be able to keep the ball rolling when we get to Phillip Island.
Yeah, hopefully we'll keep the ball rolling. Well, before we let you go, just any shout outs and any thanks you want to give?
Big thanks to, of course, everyone at TechSense FitzDie. So obviously TechSense Renval, Demon Tweaks, Fight CRC. Big thanks to Cam's beautiful face for helping me go faster every week. So yeah, big shout out to the guys.
Well, there you have it. Simon Mazzomo thanking me for absolutely no reason at all. But nevertheless, Ryan, looking forward to seeing what's going to happen at this final round for the fact that this championship's really tightened up for that second place, especially.
It certainly has. It's going to be phenomenal to see how that one unfolds. And well, the Harlow can seal the deal. Make sure you tune in at the same time next Wednesday night, 7:15 Australian Eastern Standard, to see all of the action there. And before then, make sure you like and subscribe to Simspeed TV on YouTube and on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our latest broadcasts across the week from a variety of different series. For tonight, though, let's wrap it up. My name is Ryan Jones. Alongside me, Cameron Dance and Jay Kennedy behind the scenes. We thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got with the outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness! Half the field's gonna get rolled.
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?